Welcome to Fursuiting in the time of quarantine. I'm very excited to be able to host this panel here at Virtual Furpocalypse for you all. I'm going to be talking a little bit about ways to remain an active fursuiter during this whole pandemic. I'll be giving a presentation for the most part of it. I will have a question and answer session at the end of the panel. Now, while I'm doing my presentation, I will not be able to see the chat and I won't be able to see any questions or messages that you all are sending. So I do ask that you please hold all questions until the end of the panel. And then at that time, I'll let you guys know when I'm ready and I'll go through and answer any queries you may have. This panel is also being recorded. So for anyone who may have missed it, want to go back and see it later or coming through part of the way, I will have that up on my YouTube channel, technology permitting, in the days following. So don't worry about that. And I think we are going to go right ahead and get started. So, as a bit of an introduction, hi everyone, my name is Shetani, my pronouns are she, her. I am a king cheetah. I joined the furry fandom back in 2012, and I have been a fursuiter for over 6 years and counting by now. It's wonderful and I highly recommend it. So, a bit of information about the situation at hand. As those of us who are fursuiters or may be interested in getting into fursuiting know, fursuits are a pretty big investment of time, money, and personal significance. Whether you're making your own fursuit, whether you've commissioned it from somebody else, or anything of that nature. Our fursuits mean a lot to us, you know, being able to embody our characters and take them out to conventions or anything of that nature. It's something pretty integral to those of us who enjoy dressing up in costume and using that as our avenue of socializing with other people within this furry fandom. Due to the global pandemic, as we're all aware, there have been no conventions in 2020, and the way that things are going at this time, very likely that 2021 will not see a lot of in-person furry conventions as well. In addition, public fursuiting is a big thing for a lot of people. Even that has been taken away due to the fact that folks need to remain cognizant of social distancing and can't even go out to public spaces. So I noticed that a lot of my furry compatriots online who have fursuits were expressing the fact that they were at a loss, really, of what to do during the pandemic. You know, with the typical avenues of expression removed, essentially, they were having a hard time figuring out how to keep up with that hobby of fursuiting when you can't go outside, you can't go to conventions, you can't go to meets, you can't see your friends. Now, I don't have the opportunity to go out to as many furry conventions as some of the more notable folks and faces that you might see in the fandom. I can really only go to cons about once a year. So at this time, I've become pretty practiced at ways to entertain myself and to remain an active fursuiter within the comfort of my home. So when I noticed that this was an issue a lot of other fursuiters seemed to be facing, I thought, why don't I share some of my knowledge and the tips and tricks that I've picked up throughout my years of fursuiting, and see if we can help other people realize that there is a lot more that you can do out there. So, one of the first and most, easily accessible things that you can do with your fursuit at home is at-home photo shoots. Taking pictures of yourself, being able to post them on social media, it's great. We all love sharing and seeing other people's fursuit pictures. Now, this is really, really accessible to a lot of folks. Almost everyone these days has a cell phone, a smartphone in their pocket. Most modern cell phones have very high quality cameras. I'm sure we're all aware that, even in this day and age, people are shooting feature-length films on just, their iPhones. So it isn't really anything inaccessible. You don't need like pro equipment or an actual designated camera to do anything like that. You can simply use whatever you've got at home. Taking the photos themselves can be a little bit difficult, obviously, if you're quarantined, you don't have anyone else at home in order to assist you. There are a ton of tools that you can use. You could obviously, a tripod is great if you happen to have one of those for photography. But selfie sticks were something that was really popular a while back. If you've got one of those lying around, it's a great tool to use. You can take pictures of yourself without needing to have another person around with you. Something that I find highly, highly underutilized in the fandom is voice activation. Most phones, if you go into the settings of your camera, have an option where you can say a phrase like capture or take photo, and the camera will actually take the picture for you completely hands-free. I have a Samsung phone, so it's under voice activation settings. I believe it might be different depending what kind of phone that you have, so just, play around with it. And, there are a bunch of different phrases. I like to say cheese because when I do, you smile, and I can see that with my eyes. So that's a great way that you can go ahead and capture photos without needing to have another person there, or, if your paws aren't very dexterous, you can't really hit the button. That's an option. There are also timers. You can get things like little Bluetooth remotes that you can use to take pictures, not entirely hands-free, but you can hide those inside a fursuit paw. There are a ton of options that you can do in that regard. As for taking the pictures themselves, you can make the most of what you have at home. Like I said earlier, you don't need specialized equipment for this. Take stock of whatever you've got around. If you don't have, for example, a fancy green screen for a backdrop, you can hang up an old bed sheet. Utilize the furniture that you've got around. If you don't have a stand for your camera, you can stack up a bunch of books or some boxes or something like that. Prop up your phone. Get creative. See what you can do with the options that you have available to yourself. A little bit of editing can go a really long way. If you don't have the best phone, that's perfectly fine. You can just pop a little editing on there in post and make things really pop. A lot of computers have built-in picture editing software that is super intuitive and easy to use. I know even Telegram, if you send a picture to yourself in Telegram, it has sliders where you can play around with like the contrast, the brightness, the exposure, things like that. Other apps, there are tons of apps for your phone that put filters on things, and you can just like clean it up a little bit, do some cropping, make some pictures that look really, really nice. But sometimes, people don't think that this is something that really they can do themselves. You might be living in a very small space. You might, if you have roommates or you live in a communal space, all you've got to work with is your bedroom, no worries. Anything that you can think of, you can find a way to make it work. So, what types of things can you actually take pictures of? There are so many possibilities out there. I put out a call on Twitter, had people send in pictures of themselves, pictures that they've taken of themselves in their fursuits. And so here are a couple ideas of things that you yourself can do. Hobbies. Hobbies is a great one. If there's something that you like to do and that your fursuit or your character can also get involved in, this can be a great way to, help people learn a little bit more about yourself. Here we see Wad, who is actually a fursuit maker, making fursuits in their fursuit. This is such a cool idea. And, the juxtaposition of the fursuiter making suits, that makes a really cool and dynamic photo. And of course, here we've got Babbles the bunny outside gardening. Great photo shoot for, a bunny, that species. It's something that fits the character and fits the personality. Cosplaying, one of my personal favorites. I was a cosplayer for many years before I even got into fursuiting, and something that I love to do is combine cosplaying with my fursuit. Because, fursuiting in and of itself is technically just another form of cosplaying, right? So I love just combining, my interests with my fursuit and getting, it's essentially two costumes in one. It's really, really cool. So here you see me cosplaying Diva from Overwatch. I've set myself up with some themed props, video games, a bag of Doritos, some Mountain Dew, things that really fit the character and just kind of, bring it all together. Here is Fangorn, obviously dressed up as a Jedi Knight from Star Wars. They've got their lightsaber going on. They've got, some space-related items. It's really dynamic and really cool. Anything like this, if you're posting it online, if you're sharing it with your friends, people would love to see fursuits in cosplay. The tried and true bedroom pose. Like I was mentioning earlier, if you're living with roommates or your parents and you don't really have a lot of space to get out and, find somewhere cool to take fursuit pictures, pretty much anyone, I would imagine, has a space of their own, your bedroom. There's a ton of things that you can do with this. If you've got props in your room, you can cuddle some plushies, you can hang out on the bed. Oftentimes, if your bed sheets match the colors of the fursona or species, you can do some really fun stuff with that too. Working from home. If you are a person who's able to work from home during the pandemic, why not take a picture of yourself doing your job in your fursuit? And also, something to keep in mind, staged photo shoots are a thing. You can set it up and look like you're working from home if, that's not actually the type of job that you're doing. People, will be none the wiser. And of course, it's something really cool and engaging. Maybe your fursuit character would be working from home while you yourself are not. You can set that up. You can get super creative with it. Playing with pets is a great one. Here we've got Edward with his dog and Blue with theirs. I don't know if you can tell, but their fursuit was actually inspired by the colors of their own pet dog, which is super, super cool. Fursuiters with pets is always a great idea, fun to see, fun to do. Make sure ahead of time that your pet is okay with your fursuit. A lot of animals, get a little bit spooked or startled by a person in a big costume. So obviously, test that out ahead of time. Make sure that it's not going to be an issue. Make sure that it's not going to cause stress to your pet or possibly harm to your fursuit in any way. But yeah, I have a cat myself. I love taking pictures with her whenever she lets me. She's still not super crazy about the whole fursuit thing, but she tolerates me at this point. I've seen pictures of fursuiters with pet birds, have your bird sitting on your head, rodents, small mammals, rats, super, super cute. There's a lot that you can do with pictures of your pet and your fursuit, and also it's a really cool juxtaposition because you're both animals. It's fun. What could be better than that? Cooking is another great idea. If you know any recipes or you'd like to share them with people, you can do so through fursuit photography. Here I am in the kitchen, cooking something up. There's actually a fursuiter named Bake Me Up Buttercup who runs a YouTube channel where she makes recipes and prepares them in fursuit and shares the recipes with people online. So that's something that you can get into during the pandemic. Anything that you want to share with people, anything that, is fun and engaging, but you can also incorporate your fursuit with, that's absolutely great. People love to see stuff like that. Slice of life pictures, just, whatever it is that you're doing. Here, we have a really great one here. There is Captain Julius, who is a cuttlefish out on a picnic sharing some sushi. So that's really, really cool. Again, it's something that fits with the character. It's something that's fun, doesn't require a lot of effort, and it's something just a little bit more creative than the norm. And here we've got Ashram, I believe, in fursuit, doing their laundry, washing their other fursuit. If you have multiple fursuits, this is a really, really cool thing that you can do. You know, anything to make people laugh, anything to make people smile, just things that you do in your daily life. An animal person doing it makes it 100 times better. So again, you know, it doesn't need to be something super fancy, just something that you love, something that you would have fun doing, and sharing that with other people is great. Following up on that, show what you're doing during the pandemic. What I've been doing is a lot of hanging out at home in my cozy clothes, drinking a bunch of tea and playing Animal Crossing. So I took a photo of myself doing that, and you know, you can share that online with other people. You can commiserate. It's always fun when other fursuiters comment on your pictures, showing pictures of what they're doing related to that. So, you know, anything like that, people just love to see it. Of course, selfies. You know, it's a great option. You can just take a nice portrait of yourself. If you've got, you know, with partial fursuits, you can dress them up in clothes. Some full suits, that's also an option. You know, if you get clothes that are a little bit bigger. So maybe you've got a new jacket that's really cool and you want to show it off. Maybe you got a cool hat from you know, a furry clothing maker or something, and you want to show that off. Pop that on your fursuit, take a picture. It's great. Something else that I wanted to specifically touch on. Take this opportunity to visit locations that you normally wouldn't be able to access. So a lot of the times people, fursuiters can tend to be a little bit stressed out when it comes to going out in public. There are suitors who love public suiting, and of course there are people who are a little bit more reserved when it comes to interacting with the public. One thing that is very unique to the situation that we're in right now is that a lot of places are closed. There are fewer people walking around outside due to the pandemic. Well, right now the weather's getting a little bit cold, but depending on where you live, you can still have some very nice warm days. So this is actually a great opportunity to seize upon that and go out, take some pictures, doing things or in places that you normally wouldn't be able to access in fursuit. So this past June, actually, a town near me painted a pride flag on their crosswalk, and due to the pandemic, the streets were actually closed and empty of cars. So I took that opportunity to go out with a photographer friend of mine. We were both wearing masks. I wore a mask under the fursuit. We stayed social distance. And I got these great photos of myself walking across the crosswalk, which obviously was a thing that I would not normally be able to do during a time when, you know, there are cars driving and things of that nature. I've seen friends of mine online are sharing how they're able to actually like go hiking, climb up on mountains with their fursuit, and take these amazing, gorgeous nature photos while fursuiting. You can go out to parks. If you have access to any sort of establishments that are closed, like, you know, a bar, a restaurant, anything that looks kind of cool, you can use that and capitalize on this opportunity to get some really unique and memorable shots. So moving on to photography, another option, slightly related but very different in its own ways, is recording videos. Like I mentioned, a lot can be done at home with your own phone. You don't really need special equipment. Like I mentioned before, you can utilize tools such as voice activation or hands-free recording to just set up your phone and start recording on your own. If you've got a video camera, that's phenomenal, that's awesome. Absolutely, by all means, go ahead and use that. Video editing is something that's becoming a lot more accessible to people these days. Tons of social media apps support that now. Things like very basic video editing in there. There are a lot of apps that I don't even know about, but I know you can download them on your phone and edit videos, you know, very simply in phone itself. Make them look really cool. If you have access to video editing program on your computer, absolutely, by all means, use that. But again, it's not something that you need to go out and shell out a whole bunch of money for. Even your phone itself has basic editing software in there, so you can just, you know, clip videos, make things really cool and really nice looking. If you don't have a phone or you don't have a built-in laptop webcam, you can go out and buy one, of course. People were saying that there was a webcam shortage due to the pandemic and everyone doing video calls and things of that nature. That wasn't something that I personally have encountered. A couple months back, I went out and bought myself a webcam off of Amazon. It cost less than $20, and it's what I'm broadcasting on right now, and you know, the quality looks pretty darn good for the price. So that's an option. Sound recording is something that you want to pay attention to. Obviously, you want people to be able to hear you, and with the fursuit, if you're recording videos, the sound is often a little bit muffled. If you can get an external mic, that's cool. Otherwise, you can use a camera to record and use your phone to record the sound, and then just go ahead and splice those together in post. Some people use small microphones that they can actually put inside of their fursuit heads. Otherwise, you have a larger external mic. There are a lot of options out there, and of course, everyone's fursuit is different. So just play around, try out some new things, and see what works best for you and your situation. Of course, it's important to keep in mind that the purpose of this is just something for you to be engaging and interacting with other people socially. It doesn't need to look or sound super professional. I know a lot of the times we see other people online and we compare our work to theirs. It's not about, you know, you're not doing this for a living or anything like that. You're just trying to have fun and, you know, share your hobbies with everybody else. So don't worry about the quality or, you know, anything of that nature. Just make sure that whatever it is that you're doing is something that you're comfortable with, and most importantly, that you're having fun with. So, what are some things that you can take videos of? There are a lot of options, obviously. You can do little skits in your fursuit. Memes, obviously, are super popular. Those are nice and short, you know, anything that's current on the trend. Dance videos, I don't think I need to mention. Fursuit dancing is a really big thing in our community. I myself have 2 left feet. If you're a dancer, you can record yourself in fursuit dancing, and those are also so cool to see. I have such respect for fursuit dancers. Updates, you know, people want to know what everybody else is keeping up with or how we're all doing during the pandemic. Just take a little video of yourself talking to the camera in fursuit, explaining what's going on, just letting people know that you're doing okay. Where exactly can you upload these videos that you're taking? Well, Twitter is a big one. A lot of furries are on Twitter these days. They have, I believe, a 2-minute and 20-second limit for their videos, so you can get a sizable amount in there. Instagram is another social media app that's very popular. If you're uploading the video itself as like an upload, it has a 1-minute limit. Instagram also has this feature called Stories, which are temporary videos that are only up on your profile for about 24 hours. Those are more for like updates and things like that. Those only have a 15-second limit, but you can chain those videos together to make one big and longer one. TikTok is a platform that I do not personally have a lot of experience with, but I know there are a ton of furries out there who use it, and furry TikTok is its own kind of thing. As far as I'm aware, those have a 1-minute limit. TikTok has a very unique feature to the platform, which is duets and replies, where if you're not familiar with this, essentially somebody else makes a video and then you do what is in essence a video response to that, with like playing off of other people and making videos with other people. TikTok's also got this sound library. You know, they have song clips. I'm sure we've all seen like memes and things that go viral using certain songs, TikTok dances, things like that. So those are some options of videos that you can make at home in your fursuit during the pandemic. As we're getting more into longer videos, these are going to be things like discussions, how-tos, as I mentioned earlier. Reaction videos are very popular as well. Vlogging, even short films. You know, there are furry film competitions. I believe there was one just held this past summer that was taking submissions, and you can even win awards for stuff like that if, you know, filmmaking is your passion and you combine that with your other hobby of fursuiting. There's, you know, some phenomenal things you can do with that, honestly. Anything that you want to share with other folks, if you have a hobby, if you know, say maybe you play a musical instrument and you want to share that with people in your fursuit, go ahead. People always love to see things like that. As we're getting more into the longer videos, your uploads are a little bit more restricted. There's YouTube, of course. Everyone is familiar with that. They have a basic 15-minute limit for videos. If you have a verified account, you can upload longer videos, even up to a few hours, I believe. YouTube is a very popular website. Obviously, everybody's familiar with it. They have a lot of tools in there for anyone looking to get their videos out on a big platform. And, you know, even, I believe you can even do some editing in YouTube, honestly. Another option, another alternative to YouTube is Vimeo. Those actually have no length limit on their videos. They're less restrictive. As anyone who may have uploaded to YouTube knows, they can be quite militant when it comes to copyright claims. Vimeo, you don't really have to worry about that as much. So if you're using like audio clips, songs in your videos, and it's something that YouTube is gonna hit you with a strike for, you can try Vimeo for that. For better or worse, Vimeo has a smaller user base. So you're not gonna get as much organic interaction with your videos as you were on a platform like YouTube. But then again, you can also avoid a lot of negativity that might come with a platform such as YouTube, where you have a hard time controlling the audience of your videos. Vimeo, you won't really have to worry about things like that. I'm sure there are other sites out there that obviously, you know, do your own research, see what's available to you. Streaming is another thing. Fursuit streaming is becoming more and more popular by the day. Gaming streams are the, you know, the most prevalent that you're going to be seeing. People streaming all sorts of games. You can play video games, tabletop games, even card games in fursuit. And, you know, if you have friends who are also fursuiters, get them involved too. It's great and it's fun. Art streaming is super, 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 super popular. If you happen to be an artist as well, people love to watch you draw and see the process of your work. If you can draw during while you're wearing your fursuit, that's something, you know, that'll be even more attractive to people. I have a friend with a MagpieBones fursuit as well, and they did a stream a while back, an art stream in their fursuit. Something else that you can stream are, you know, Q&As and AMAs, question and answers, or Ask Me Anything. Basically, you know, have your friends or people who follow you online ask you questions, and you just answer them. It's, you know, that's a really cool icebreaker for, you know, if you want to become more active and get out there with your fursuit, but maybe you yourself don't have a lot of creative ideas or can't really think of things to talk about. Most people, you know, don't have an issue talking about themselves. So, you know, people ask you questions, you answer them, and it sort of starts building a rapport with other folks online, which is really the whole point of this, socializing and being able to interact with other people while we may not be able to physically go out there and do that. Again, there are a multitude. YouTube is one, Twitch is another big one. Picarto, I believe, is more focused towards art streaming, specifically like I mentioned. You can also stream on a ton of social media apps. Instagram does that, Twitter does that, Facebook does that. There are a lot of options for you. Piggybacking off of the previous topic, you can also make GIFs. If you're recording videos in your fursuit, you can just clip out a little bit of that and make animated GIFs. These are cute, they're fun, they're short, and they're super versatile. You know, reaction images and reactions are super popular. So here we've got an example of Aries. They're playing with their cat in fursuit. That is super, super cute. And here's Mark doing a little high wave. So, you know, Telegram stickers are really fun, and why not, you know, bump up the ante a little bit? An animated GIF is even more engaging. So, you know, you don't even have to sit down and like record specifically a GIF. You know, if you've made a longer video, you can clip out a little part of that and you will be good to go. You can use these on Telegram, social media, anywhere really. Like I said earlier, they're super versatile and they're super, super fun. Another thing that you can do in your fursuit during the pandemic is public video projects. So these are a project where essentially many participants come together to bring an idea to life. If you've seen like collaborations or music videos online, those are a big thing really. Essentially, the host will come up with a concept and ask for submissions from other fursuiters. So, like I said earlier, music videos are what you see the most of. Basically, people have an idea, they need other participants for it, so they'll put out like a submission call on social media, Twitter, Discord, Telegram, things like that, looking for other fursuiters to get involved. If you're a member of like fursuiter groups on Telegram or Discord, keep an eye out for these. See if there are people putting together projects that you feel like you'd be interested in participating in. If you can't find any, host your own. You know, just think out of the box, get creative. Anything. People really, really like these, honestly. They're one of my favorite things to do because it takes a little bit of effort from many other people. So, you know, by sharing that around with other fursuiters, you can really get a lot of unique and interesting perspectives, and you can put it all together and come up with something really cool and fun. Some examples of fursuit video projects that I myself have participated in just these past few months. Ringer did a music video that they called Quarantine. It was a song that they actually composed and recorded themselves, and they essentially asked for clips of fursuiters showing what they're doing during the quarantine. And they combined that all together. They compiled it into one big music video that you can see on their YouTube channel. Another one is the Mask Up project by More. That was a video promoting mask wearing. They asked for fursuiters wearing their face masks or their face coverings. Obviously, this is something super, super popular in the furry fandom, and pretty much everyone's got a mask these days. So this was something, you know, really easy to participate in. You know, it doesn't require a lot of effort from you. And then, you know, it feels great to be part of something bigger and, you know, show how you yourself contributed to that. And in doing so, you know, in submitting to a big project like this, you get introduced to other people, you make connections, and you start making more friends, which is great. Rascal did an awesome series on TikTok called Around the World, where they essentially asked for submissions from furries, fursuiters, as well as what country they live in. And they put together this whole showcase of fursuiters around the whole world. This was this huge project that they did. It spanned like several months, honestly, and they put a ton of work into it. It was so, so cool to look at this project and see the diversity and the breadth and the spectacle of fursuiters out there. So, you know, if you yourself want to see or, you know, bring to life any projects like this, get out there, get your ideas down, come up with, you know, plans, and put out a call on social media. See who answers. See what other fursuiters you can get involved with during the pandemic. You know, back when we had in-person furry cons, people would do music videos at conventions. We don't have that option right now, but you can still go out there and just by changing a little bit, you can still make something really, really great, fun, unique, and you'll be able to look back on and be proud of your accomplishments. Group video chats are also something that you can do during the pandemic. A lot of people are doing most of their public socialization this way. If you have a group which you are comfortable fursuiting in, by all means, this is a super cool option. Obviously, a whole bunch of platforms are capitalizing on this right now, so the good news is there are a lot of different alternatives for doing video chats right now. Zoom is a big one. For Zoom, you can have a 40-minute limit group for the free plan with up to 100 members. You can also pay for a pro plan if this is something that you're going to be hosting on a more frequent basis, and that'll give you, you know, a longer time frame, I believe, and some other options. Discord, you can do video chats in Discord. There's no time limit on those and no member limit on those. A lot of people have a Discord account already, so this is something that they would be easy to just jump in and get going right on that. Skype, I'm not sure if a lot of folks use this for video chats. Personally, I can't remember seeing anyone who does, but it is an option, of course. As far as I know, there's no time limit on that, and you can have up to 50 members. Omegle is a platform that you can do one-on-one video chats with people. It is browser-based, so you don't need to download an extra, you know, software or a dedicated client or something like that. These are kind of like a chat roulette style thing where it'll match you up with another person. So you can use specific hashtags to find other fursuiters. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. Telegram just recently announced that they're going to start doing video chats. It's only one-on-one for right now, but they have said that they are planning to do group calls coming soon. So that'll be another option for if you want to do video chats with other fursuiters during the pandemic. If you are looking for things that you can join and chat groups that you can join right now, I wasn't able to find too many, but there is a fursuit video call community on Discord. They do meetings Fridays around 9 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They also, I believe, have an option on Tuesdays a little bit earlier for folks who that is more convenient for. And again, this is just like a Discord video call community where you can hop in and just video call with other people in your fursuit. So, you know, get out there, have some fun, talk to some new people, and make some new friends. Fuzzy Omegle weekends, I touched on this a little bit earlier. This is a group that is organized through Twitter. Essentially, every Saturday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, fursuiters get on on Omegle, and they use a certain hashtag in order to find other fursuiters. And this is just kind of like a one-on-one thing. It'll randomly match you up with another person using the same hashtags. So this is actually really fun because it's like you never know who else you're going to meet. And I met a ton of really cool people doing this. So if this is something that works for you, you can go ahead and give it a try. Both of these groups meet on a weekly basis. So, you know, don't feel pressured if you miss it out one week. You can always hop in on the next one. And this is always something that's going to be available for you if you think you'd like to try this as a way to be a more active fursuiter right now. Of course, online conventions are an amazing option for fursuiting during the pandemic. like Furpocalypse. Furpocalypse went online this year as an option to have people still able to retain that furry convention experience despite not being able to meet up in person. This right here, I actually took a screenshot of the Fursuit meet and greet a couple days ago at Furpoc. If you were there and you were able to make it, you'll know that it was a super fun time. Some conventions also have things like fursuit parades. I believe Furpoc had one. I was not able to check that out, but I'll have to go back after this weekend and see. They asked for photo submissions. So, you know, that's another tying back into the fursuit photos during the pandemic. This is another option for you. Fursuit meet and greets, like I mentioned, dance competitions. Furpoc Online had a dance comp this year. A lot of other furry online conventions did as well. These can either be live. I don't think a lot of cons did this live, but I have seen one that did live fursuit dance comps in VR chat. For the fursuit ones, usually they will ask for a video submission ahead of time. And also costume contests. Right here, we see Temperance in their cosplay. Yes, that is a costume. That's not a video game screenshot. That is a physical costume that someone built. And this was their submission to the cosplaycentral.com online costume contest, which I believe they won a prize for. So, you know, you can even expand outside of the furry bubble and, you know, have other options, see what else is out there. Where to share all of this fursuit media that you're taking? Why, where the furries are, of course. In today's online age, we are more connected than ever before. There are a ton of different platforms out there where you can get out, put yourself out there, and meet other furries. Twitter is a big one. Instagram, Facebook, Mastodon, Reddit, the r/furry subreddit. There are Telegram groups, Discord servers. If you're looking for ways to meet other furries, you can ask around. There are tons of other groups out there. There are a whole bunch of places where you can meet other fursuiters and share your own fursuit-related media during the pandemic. So, the whole purpose of this is to help people realize ways that they can remain an active fursuiter while we can't go out and meet up physically with other people. Motivate yourself to stay active by sticking to a schedule. A lot of folks struggle with, you know, finding motivation to continue in our hobbies during this time. It's weighing down heavily on a lot of us. And, you know, that creative spark can be hard to keep up with all of the stress that's going on. A very easy way that I find for myself is to say, okay, so it's Friday, there's a Fursuit Friday hashtag that's popular. I'm going to post at least one picture every week for Fursuit Friday. You know, set small goals for yourself, things that you can follow. Your hashtag trends, like I mentioned, Fursuit Friday, TF Tuesday. If you have a fursuit from a specific fursuit maker, there might be a tag for that. You know, see if you can talk with other people. And this is also a great way to see what other folks are doing as well. Like I said earlier, you can look for groups that meet on a regular basis. Any of those fursuiting calls or fursuiting groups that I mentioned, you can participate in that and make sure that, you know, it's something for you to look forward to every week or whenever it is that they meet. You know, build that up for yourself, make that like a reward for yourself. And of course, you should know your own limits and only do what you feel comfortable with. Don't feel pressured that you have to or you must, you know, create content for online. Ultimately, keep in mind that this is about having fun and something that you enjoy. When it stops being fun for you and starts feeling like more of a chore, then that's when you know that you might want to sit back and take a little break from it. Come back to it only when you feel ready. So, what is the point, honestly? Why bother continuing to fursuit in quarantine? There are a lot of benefits. First of all, by continuing to fursuit, you're interacting with the suit and therefore forcing you to maintain it. So after you use your suit, you've got to brush it, you've got to disinfect it, you've got to wash the suit, and in going over it, this is when you discover things like, little small rips and tears, maintenance that you need to do, repairs like that. So, this helps keep your fursuit in tip-top condition instead of just, sitting in a box in the back of your closet. It also helps keep your character or persona in the public eye. If you are someone who engages with the furry community in more of a business sense, maybe you're a fursuit maker, maybe you're an artist, and you have a fursuit character that represents yourself. You want to keep yourself, out there and fresh. You can still, sell your goods online even without physical conventions. Even if you are engaging on this in more of a personal aspect, people want to make sure, that you're doing okay. If they haven't heard from you in a while, they get worried. So it helps keep your character in the public eye, and it lets people know what it is that you're doing and what you're keeping up with. Socialization is the major reason that a lot of people fursuit. Right now, we are stuck inside and we can't go out to see our friends. We need social interaction. The physical aspect may not be there, but you can still do this digitally and connect with other people just by talking to other folks, by engaging with other folks, chatting with other folks. You get that social interaction that we as humans need in order to stay happy and healthy. And finally, fursuiting is something that you enjoy. Obviously, you're doing it because it's a fun hobby and it's something that is an engaging and creative pastime for yourself. Wearing your fursuit makes you happy, improves your mood, and promotes positivity. So you want to be able to keep doing that as much as possible. All right, so we've got about 10 minutes left in the panel. At this point, I am going to open up the floor to questions. I will be popping back over to the chat. If you have any questions for me, anything that you would like me to answer, go ahead and I will do my very best. There is a little bit of a delay on it, I believe, so I apologize. It might take me a couple seconds to get your questions coming up here. Hi, Nico. Thank you very much for your wonderful comments. Glad you enjoyed the panel. Does anyone have any questions about fursuiting or anything of that nature that you'd like me to answer? Go right ahead. I'm just going to scroll up in the chat a little bit. I apologize. The other furry conventions that I have paneled at did not have a delay between the chat and the actual broadcast. So I'm just making sure that I didn't miss anything. Yes, you all are very welcome. I dressed up in fursuit for Halloween yesterday. Did anybody else happen to do so? And what did you dress as? Okay, so Nico asks, is it hard to take selfies in fursuit? So it can be. A lot of times, the fursuit paws don't have a lot of dexterity. I have, my fursuit is by MagpieBones, so my paws, I have a lot of finger control here, but still, it can be hard to push the buttons to take a selfie or something of that nature. So like I mentioned earlier, I use voice activation on my phone a lot. I also utilize tools like a video tripod and things of that nature in order to take selfies. I try not to take selfies as much because the front-facing camera on my phone has lower quality than the rear-facing. So it's a little bit hard for me to finagle it because when I take a picture, I can't actually see how I'm posing. It'd be cool if I had one of those actual cameras with like a mirror on it so you can see what's going on, but I do the best that I can. That's what all this is about, just doing your best and having fun. Hi, Roman. Thank you so much for your question. So yes, I have what's known as a use your own eyes fursuit. My fursuit maker is MagpieBones. They specialize in fursuits of this nature. Mine is also pretty unique in that it also utilizes my own hair. So no, that is not a wig. This is my actual hair coming out of the fursuit. It's really fun because, you know, whenever I dye my hair or I style it a different way, my fursuit kind of auto updates. So essentially I have unlimited number of fursuits in one. It's really cool. And it's just something unique that I really like to do, and I think helps me embody my character a lot more. This is pretty much exactly the way that I envision my own persona. So I'm glad that I was able to find a maker to work with my unique specifications and bring this type of fursuit to life. Oh, very, very important question, Twig. Are you supposed to wear a mask when you're out fursuiting, or does the fursuit count as a mask? So I see a lot of people making jokes and things like, oh, you know, the furries have this idea, right, with the pandemic, they're always wearing their costumes. No, a fursuit head does not count as, you know, disease protection. Fursuit heads, if you are a fursuiter, you know that these are built to have the best possible airflow and ventilation, which is the exact opposite of what a medical mask is supposed to do. So no, wearing a fursuit head does not protect you from getting sick. I showed pictures earlier of myself outside in fursuit. Those were taken with me wearing a mask under the fursuit itself. Wearing a fursuit head will not keep you safe. It will not keep other people safe. This is a really bad time to be doing any sort of fur meets or, you know, fursuit group events outside. The danger is not past. So if you are going to go out and take pictures in your fursuit and you're going beyond your own backyard, essentially, yes, you would need to wear a mask under the fursuit. Thank you, Bluist. I'm glad you enjoyed the panel. Nico asks, do you have any photo shoots that you enjoyed doing? Let's think. One photo shoot that I really enjoyed was back at Anthro New England 2017, I believe it was. I worked with a photographer called Sunstab. If anyone's been to the Anthro New England convention in Boston, Massachusetts, they have a really fancy hotel. And they had this like sort of library set up downstairs near the door. And that was something that I actually scoped out the hotel ahead of time, and I saw that and I was like, ooh, that would be a really cool place to take pictures. So I got an outfit for my fursuit specifically to match with that, and we took some pictures in there and it was really cool. Then the next year they banned the fursuiters from entering that area because the like not FurryCon related hotel guests were a little uncomfortable seeing fursuiters in like the public space. So I'm glad that we were able to get that taken out of the way before, you know, it was no longer an option for us. Oh, right, of course. So if you are all interested in seeing more of me online, here are my social media links. I am on Twitter and Instagram at Shetani Cheetah. My YouTube page is at Shetani. Like I mentioned earlier, this panel will be recorded, so barring any sort of technical difficulties, I will have the panel up online in case you missed it, in case you want to link it to any friends who may have missed it, or if you want to go back and view the panel again. I do have a homepage right there if you want to learn more about me, my character, what it is that I do, and how I interact with the furry fandom. And if you liked my panel and you enjoy the sort of content that I put out and you want to support me, you can feel free to donate to me on Ko-fi. My Ko-fi link is ko-fi.com/Shetani. So yeah, these are most of the places where you can find me online. Yeah, wild card. I can't imagine, you know, people with full suits going in there and like big tails and stuff, knocking things over. I can definitely see why they decided that they would be excluding fursuiters from entering that area. Other than that, you know, I just really like fursuit photography. Photo shoots at home are what I'm mostly doing right now. My dedicated photographer that I was previously working with moved across the country, so I don't have anyone to take professional, as it were, photos of me. And I am thankful enough to have a partner who is also a furry, and she helps me out a ton with all of my photography and videography and things like that. I try not to bother her as much as possible because, you know, I like to let her do her own thing. But it's, you know, she's a really integral part of doing this for all of me. She handles, she's my fursuit handler when I go to conventions and stuff like that. So if you're able to have a person like that to help you out, it's good, and it also, you know, is nice to be able to share your hobbies with your partners and things like that. Twig asks, do you do much green screen photography in fursuit? How does that work out with the fur? I don't actually own a green screen, so if I do, when I do photography, I don't have a picture available to show you right now, I apologize. But when I do photography where I switch out the background, I actually have to go in there manually and erase it. So how does that work out with the fur? A lot of painstaking erasing effort. If you have a green screen, that will make it a lot easier. Like I said, depending on the color of your fursuit or the texture of it, it may be harder to simply you know, color drop out the color of the background, and you might have to go in there manually and do a little bit more of editing to that. Favorite cosplay photo shoots? Let's see. I didn't do an official photo shoot of this because I was at a convention entirely on my own that weekend, and I did not have my partner with me to handle. But I did a costume of Pepe, the marching band skeleton from the cover of the My Chemical Romance Black Parade album. My Chemical Romance is my favorite band of all time, and so that was something that I was really psyched to do. I had the jacket from back when the album came out, and I put together, you know, I made a little hat for myself that was really cool. And just this past, just yesterday actually, for Halloween, I did a costume of Chell from Portal. If you check out my Twitter at Shetani Cheetah, you can see pictures of my Portal cosplay from Halloween. So yeah, that was cool. Also, if you are a partial fursuiter and you're looking for something to do during the pandemic, I am running a partial fursuit costume contest. Today is actually the last day that you can submit entries. So if you check out my Twitter at Shetani Cheetah, I have the entry page on there. Basically, you just dress up your partial suit in a costume and just post a picture of that, and you can have some fun and win some cool prizes if that's something that you're interested in. Yes, you're welcome. I was so psyched to be able to do this presentation for Furpocalypse Online this year. I love furry conventions, and I love fursuiting. I do not love molds and nasty water dripping on my head. So when I saw that Furpoc was going online this year, I was like, "Ooh, yeah, let me get on that." So yeah, I'm glad that they had you know, this online convention. It's a great way to make conventions more accessible to people who wouldn't otherwise be able to attend them. You can really go to online conventions from all around the world now, essentially, due to them being virtual. So I think that's absolutely fantastic. I'm so great that I was able to contribute to Furpocalypse's paneling this year. So I don't know if they're gonna cut me off or if someone is gonna tell me to stop talking or what the case may be. But yeah, I believe I'm the last event. So I'm just gonna keep talking until someone tells me to shut up. And they do the closing ceremonies. I think closing ceremonies is the last event of Furpoc. I unfortunately wasn't able to participate in more of the convention activities this year because Halloween is a really, really big holiday for me. So I had Halloween plans, but I did make sure to carve time out of my schedule to do this Furpoc panel, and I hope that I'm able to do more stuff in the future. Furpoc is a great con. I love Halloween. I love spooky stuff. So to have a furry convention based around that is super, super cool.